Why is the number one female tennis player of the world, Aryna Sabalenka, not allowed to play with her flag? That's what we'll get into today, so stay tuned as we get real with Yvonne. So you probably know I'm into tennis. I love tennis. Tennis is amazing. So I've always been bothered when all of a sudden some of my favorite players and also players I am not as fond of but I still support were shown without their flags in result lists, in playlist charts, and there's just Russian and Belarusian flags were banned. So this goes back to 2023 and it is linked to the Russian-Ukrainian war that started 2022. So let's look at that. Why does a sports entity, meaning ATP, WTA, ITF, and all the Grand Slam tournaments, decide to remove a flag from a sport event or a sport entirely because of a political thing happening, which is war? This is clearly picking sides in this war, which is also what we've been sold all along, that in this war, there's exactly one bad guy, and that's Russia. Russia is the bad guy and everything else is victim. Ukraine is a victim. Ukraine is being attacked without a reason. And don't be afraid, I'm not going to get into details of this, but you already can tell how I also question this narrative that they're telling us. So I'm questioning that, yet I'm just astounded and actually shocked to see that a political thing, a political topic is having the influence on every other subject, which is in this case sports. Sports should be neutral. Sports should be somewhere where people meet and have honest and fair and just battles and fights and confrontations. There's rules, what you can do, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. In rules, in tennis, there's actually a million rules that you have to follow. It's very precise. So there's no danger of someone being unfair, of someone cheating, of someone, whatever it is. We're not gonna get into performance enhancing drugs here. Of course, you can always take those, but that's not the topic of today's video. What my point is that sports is completely separate from politics. So it should be separate. It should be a place where we overcome political issues, where we overcome people fighting each other. And the tennis associations, the ones I named, deciding that Russian flags are going to be banned is them being very political with that statement, is getting very involved in something that should be separate of what they're actually should be focusing on, which is tennis and how people get to fly all over the country in order to meet on certain courts where they then get to compete in tennis. And it's not political. It's not politics. So even if these associations decide to be political, they're not neutral because they don't have the right to make an opinion themselves of what's happening politically. And maybe some of them think, well, actually, there's not a clearly bad guy and a victim only. It's way more complex than that. It's way more entangled, the whole thing. There's history to it. There's, once again, Americans having taken some actions. I'm not saying American players, I'm saying American presidents, governments, all the people in charge, what they did, what they said before. It's more complex than just there's one bad guy and now we're taking a stance for the victim, or what was told to us who has to be the victim, who has to be sold. It's again about selling a point of view to the people. It's about selling, okay, you need to think that. It's about dictating an opinion. So they dictate you have to be against Russia. Russia is the bad guy, and we're showing you that by banning Russian and Belarusian flags. So my poor Arina Sabalenka, who is an amazing player, an amazing human being from what I got to see from her, she's funny, she's entertaining, she's honest, she's straightforward, she shows her emotions. I love her. She's amazing. So she has to swallow that piece, to just be banned, not be allowed for her flag of where she grew up, of the country she grew up in, of the country she is attached to emotionally. She has to swallow that piece, that she's not allowed to play under that flag. She's allowed to play, and she has to consider herself lucky that she gets to play and just shut up, right? She has to shut up, like all the other players who are being concerned by this incredible, obnoxious ban have to shut up and just, like put their personal story first, put their career first, and just say, I'm not getting involved politically. I have to take this ban for my flag. I can't really do anything, right? If I speak up, people are not going to understand me because they have been brainwashed to see Russia as the bad guy, and that's all there is, right? So people are not going to support her if she speaks up, and those who dare to support her will be cancelled and will be muted. That's just how it goes. So they choose to stay quiet. They choose to be sort of okay with what's happening, but it's deeply humiliating, and it's deeply wounding and painful to be painted as the bad guy. And yet they have to get up every morning. And I'm not saying here professional tennis players are to be pitied and they have a hard life. They actually do, but still they make a lot of money. The top 10 and the top 100 make a lot of money, not the rest of them, but they do make money. So we can say, okay, it's the price you pay. You're famous. You're a good tennis player. You make a lot of money, and you have a team, you get to travel, you get to live your hobby, your passion. Okay, you're not the poorest of all, right? But still, you have to just shut up and take it, because it's being dictated that you can't really stand up for your country and be proud for where you come from, because you're being painted as the devil, while it's not fully true. It's not the whole truth. And if one politician decides something, it doesn't mean that the whole country is also the devil, right? We know that. Like, the normal people of a country are mostly, are in general amazing human beings. Most of them, just like in any other country. So I'm just like, I've been shocked back then when I saw that the Russian flag disappeared and the Belarusian, but I still wanted to make this video today to express my frustration of how things are being dictated and are being put on us. We don't really have a choice. The players don't have a choice. And we just need to go with that narrative of like, hey, we're telling you what the truth is, and we're telling you what happened. And if you see behind that, if you know that's not all of the truth, if you know that's not a complete picture that's being painted, if you know there's an agenda to them, like the tennis people, the associations I said, so the ATP, the WTA, the ITF, and the people organizing the Grand Slams deciding that you have to believe what we tell you, and we have no freedom ourselves to decide otherwise, because we also depend on people giving us money, supporting us, and those people told us what we have to do, so we're actually doing it. That's how dictatorships are created. No one dares to speak up. No one dares to say something against something. Or if you do, you get canceled, you get fired, you're out there, you're risking your career, your lives, your family's lives. You're just doing better by not speaking up. And that is a toxic environment that's being created, where no one dares to speak up anymore. No one dares to say, hey, this is wrong, this is off, should not be happening. We're against that. We don't want to be dictated what we have to do. We want to be free. But if you take money from someone, you're not free. So the whole follow the money is also true in those cases where you go, oh, they're receiving money for this and that. They need the money, otherwise they couldn't do what they're doing. They are dependent on that money flowing in. So they're not free anymore. They have lost their freedom of speech and their freedom of decision. So this is what I imagine happened also in tennis, that they were told you need to ban those, and then the players didn't have really a choice other than just sacrificing their own career and going, I'm not going to play anymore if I don't get to play with my flag being shown. They don't have that choice, so they just decide to shut up and keep on going. And that's how now me, Yvonne, as a spectator of tennis events, I miss the Russian and the Belarusian flag all the time, because I'm like, my dear Arena doesn't get to have her flag, and I'm upset by that. And of course she can't win Grand Slams like that. I mean, what do you expect? I know she won a few, but this year she's a little bit unlucky, unfortunately. So yes, I want to make you aware. As always, I'm making these videos to have you be aware that you're being sold information, you're being sold a narrative, you're being sold a version that someone wants you to see things a certain way, you're being sold a version of events, and I want you to stop buying into it. I want you to start to think critically, to question things, and to go, what is this? What's happening here? I say no to this. I say no to being told what I have to think. I would say no to the narrative that they're telling me, and I just go, yes, yes, thumbs up. Yeah. I agree. Like whatever you're telling me, I should think. I agree. I should think that, because I've seen it 100 times all over. I've read it on social media. I've read it on in the newspaper. I've heard it from my neighbor. I've heard it from my aunt. I've heard it everywhere, and now I believe it. No, question things. Go, what's happening here? This is big. It seems small. I'm talking about flags in tennis. It seems small, but it's actually big, because that's how we start being free in our minds to think whatever we want, to analyze the situation ourselves, and to go, I'm going to look into this case. I'm going to look what happened historically between Russia and Ukraine. What happened? Who started? When did it start? When was it an issue already? Who did what? What was not shared in public, about who did what was not shared, that the United States got involved in which way. Oh, they did get involved, but oh, we're just going to pretend they didn't, and we're just going to pretend that they're the peacemaker and all they want is peace, where the contrary is actually true, where they have an agenda also with Europe. They have an agenda for Europe, and that's why they're getting involved. We're not going to get into details. This is a video about tennis, sort of, and it's not. You get it. But thanks for having stayed with me. Share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'd be happy if you do. It helps the channel a lot. Comment below, and I'm looking forward to responding. Thanks so much, and talk to you soon. Bye.